Hey guys, it's Jeggery, and today we're going to dive into Spoke's latest video, which has some space for prediction of the future. First, we need to identify what actually happened in this video. The video starts at Spoke's new base, and then he gets jumped by these players without any defining identity or trait, with scrambled names, no skins, and the same armor trims, all except one who has a red chest plate. These players chase Spoke throughout the entire video, and Spoke is helped by Jumper Who. In the video's climax, they manage to kill the leader of this group of hunters. And the leader drops a book titled Null, followed by the video ending. Some other details we must look at are that the bounty was announced by SirPig. However, we don't know who placed the bounty on Spoke and paid for him to be killed. SirPig also goes on to mention Spoke's chest plate and how it was a gift. And the only way he could know this is from the person who placed the bounty on him. This is where I have 3 culprits of who this could be. Before I dive into each one, let me say who they are. JamatoP, Ashwag, and Maypick. The first and probably the most obvious possibility we will look at is Jamato. The first clue we can make is the trims. Jamato has similar trims but different colors, and this is also the same trims from the Underworld. I think you can see where this theory is going, and by the way, it seems like a lot of theories these days are always linked to that place. But anyway, the netherite flow trim is seen on all the hunters except the red guy, and so do the people of the Forgotten Dimension, which JamatoP is in charge of. Now, this reason is why Jamato is a big contender. It's the totem tech that allows the players to never be killed by normal means, as one totem pop, and they're instantly out of the fight and could be anywhere. And you know who else we saw use this twice? That's right, Jamato. Logically as well, the last time Spoke and Jamato crossed paths, it didn't end well at all, as Spoke frames the death of JamatoP, which is still believed by Maypick and Prince Zam. We know Jamato isn't the best at combat, and he is definitely very rich, seeing as he has access to every place on the server. One place contains villagers, which equals infinite items. I say this because the sum of diamonds paid to SirPig was so big, and not many players on the server could even fill half a shulker box with diamond blocks, let alone Jamato nearly filling it with diamond blocks. This sum of payment also shows us that whoever wants Spoke dead wants him dead badly, and is desperate, and maybe can't do it by themselves. All of this points to JamatoP, and Jamato literally gave Spoke the god armor. The next possible culprit is Ashwag. This one is more of my imagination getting ahead of me, but I'll say briefly the reasons and then explain. The reasons are the hunter's wealth, the false identities, the chest plate determining the leader, and finally the fact that he knew Spoke's chest plate was a gift. Ashwag hasn't been seen since Spoke's base finding arc, and we saw the wealth that Ashwag possessed at the end of the last time we saw him. As well as this, the false identities and the black skins, which give the players no freedom to have a distinct factor about them, are quite similar to the Mafia and could be a reformation. Although, I don't know how you unstable creators can canonically write an army of players with messed up users, unless there's a glitch. The chest plate theory is just a bit of extra evidence to point to something, but I don't think much of it. Finally, the gift theory. We know that coming into the Mafia arc, Ashwag's whole reasoning for even forming the Mafia was to get the exploits from Spoke, because he wanted as much power as him. When Ashwag asks Spoke about his chest plate in Squiddo's house, Spoke tells him it's a gift. If you think about it, it's been basically a year since we have even heard of Ashwag, and all of Ashwag's predictions about what will happen to the server have come to pass. That being the uprising of a bigger team, which was the law. Not better, though. Ashwag did also say that when Spoke was turning into a villain and becoming more and more evil, Ashwag would come back. Although it's hard to tell, Spoke is beginning to have more and more disregard for killing players, if it comes to it. We see Spoke killing a player in the base just so he could use it to trap the hunters instead of letting the innocent player go. He just kills. I don't really think it's Ashwag, and I would be very surprised if it is. But for now, let's move on to the final one. Maypick. When you think about it, it just makes sense. 2 years they've stuck side by side, and there has never been separation or an argument ever. Maypick has the best and worst of Spoke, and Maypick may not know it, but he is definitely what Spoke values most on Unstable, as we see how Spoke reacts at the hint of Maypick being dead. All the hunters had Maypick's shield. I have seen a lot of people talk about this, but Maypick gave Spoke this shield right before the fight against Law and then disappears. Is that not suspicious at all? To me, it was like an undercover hint saying, "When I'm gone and hunters chase you, they'll have this shield I gave you." And when Maypick gave it to him, it was very subtle, not such a monumental thing. It is very possible that Maypick had enough of letting Spoke do whatever he wanted while valuing Maypick, but also putting himself and his desires first. Let's not forget Spoke was willing to fight Maypick just to prove a point that Leo Wook followed them to the far lands. While Spoke killing Leo may have lifted a heavy burden off his shoulders, it could have just been all Maypick was waiting for, so that Spoke could have his full focus on Maypick during this time of his disappearance. That's it from the Jagger, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya!